Oh man, this could literally be the worst idea I could have ever came up with. But we're here, I'm sat down, I'm talking, and it's time for my way too early predictions for this next NFL season. And why is this so hard? Number one, free agency hasn't happened yet. The NFL draft hasn't happened yet. Some of the trades that could potentially happen hasn't happened yet. So literally my predictions for this upcoming season are just gonna be based on guesses. That's why it's literally called the way too early predictions. As just take everything I say with a grain of salt. Every time I do a video sitting down talking about football, I tell you guys I'm a freaking moron. So don't get offended at my opinions, because it's the opinions of a moron. And you should be happy that I'm predicting against your favorite teams. That probably gives them a better chance to actually do well this upcoming season. But yes, my way too early predictions, and I'm going to have a ton of stuff in this video. I'm going to be predicting the winner for every conference, my offensive rookie of the year prediction, my defensive rookie of the year prediction, MVP pick. Also going to predict what I think a couple of the bigger names in free agency are going to do. And right off the bat, if one of my free agents that I predict to go to one team doesn't go to that team, it completely invalidates the rest of the predictions because I base the predictions on where I think some of the free agents are going to end up. So this is just going to be all over the place. But I've seen a lot of you guys in the comment section tell me to do this. So you know what? Here I am, giving you what you want. Even though I'm going to get so many awful comments, anally fisting me. But you know what? For the content. With that said, really quick, make sure to smash a huge thumbs up on the video if you guys do enjoy. Let's see if we can go for 1,000 likes in the first 10 minutes. I don't think I've ever had that happen, so let's see if we can make that happen today. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new and turn on that notification bell if you haven't. It's extremely important that you do subscribe, because if we do hit 500k subscribers by the end of February, I am going to be doing a $1,000 cash giveaway to one of you guys. That's if and only if we do it 500k by the end of the month. We have like 2 weeks left. We have like 5k subscribers left to go, so make sure to take that millisecond to click that button if you haven't. With that said, time to get into RBT's official way too early NFL predictions. Why did I talk about myself in third person? I don't know. And also, dude, this freaking stupid camera keeps unfocusing. So if the camera unfocuses my face in the video, I don't know what to say. First off, some free agent predictions. First of all, Drew Brees, I think he's going to stay with the Saints. I think he's going to sign a one-year deal, and it's going to kind of be like the Ray Lewis thing. He's going to go ahead and say this is your final year, and that's going to make a big impact on my predictions. Just a little foreshadowing there. Also, Tom Brady. Is he going to leave the Patriots, or is he going to go somewhere else? I genuinely believe Tom Brady is done with the Patriots. I seriously do believe, and will put my money on him going elsewhere. Now, where is he going to go? That's the question. My prediction is the LA Chargers. He's from the area. They have so many weapons that he can just walk into and just distribute the football to. I think it's too big. I think it's just going to happen. LA needs to sell tickets. They're going to give him a huge contract offer. They've already came out and said that Phillip Rivers is done in LA. I think it just makes too much sense. I think it's going to happen. And I think Tom Brady is actually going to become an LA Charger. Mental scenes if that happens. But that's my prediction, and if he stays with New England, the rest of my predictions are pretty much just over with. Now, the big question, who replaces Tom Brady at quarterback? I think the perfect man for the spot to replace Tom Brady at quarterback is Teddy Bridgewater. I've been the biggest fan of Teddy Bridgewater ever since he played at Louisville. He was my favorite quarterback in college at the time. I still love him. Went 5-0 as the Saints starter. Although didn't put up the craziest numbers, he was undefeated as their starter. They said that Taysom Hill was going to be their QB of the future. Why? I don't know. But that means Teddy B is going to look for another team. I think he fits that scheme perfectly. He's experienced quarterback, but at the same time not too old, so he doesn't have to be a bridge QB. He can come in and be the starter of the future. I think Teddy B will be the Patriots' new QB, and I think he's going to be successful. Next, this is my last free agency prediction. It's just kind of a random one since we're talking about Teddy B. I think because they saved the money on Tom Brady, they obviously want to pay Teddy B as much as they would have to pay Tom Brady. I think they spend the cash on AJ Green. I think the whole entire New England persona, the whole entire organization, it just makes too much sense. I feel like it's going to happen regardless of Tom Brady, if he leaves or not. I think AJ Green, a veteran receiver that probably will actually play at a discount, trying to maybe a 1-year deal or so. I think you add him to the same receiver core as N'Keal Harry, who didn't really get to play much, but he's a young receiver, learn behind him. Julian Edelman, they have Mohamed Sanu there. I think you add, Teddy Bridgewater and AJ Green to that offense. I think they would not honestly lose a stride. Now next, before we do get into my predictions for each and every division winner, I'm going to give you my prediction for Offensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think I predicted Josh Jacobs to win the Rookie of the Year last year. I thought that was a pretty good goddamn prediction. Would have made it happen if he didn't get hurt the last 4 weeks. So I think I got a pretty good idea on this one. Now, unfortunately, the way things ended up last year, it kind of swayed my decision here. So my Offensive Rookie of the Year, I know this is probably going to be the favorite for this pick, but I do think Joe Burrow is going to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think he's going to get drafted, undoubtedly, by the Cincinnati Bengals, pick number 1. And I think he comes in, does he put up Kyler Murray type numbers? I think he'll put up similar numbers, obviously minus the rushing. But the thing is, as what we saw from last year, you can put up mediocre numbers at the quarterback position as a rookie and still win Rookie of the Year. I do still think the fact that Josh Jacobs or Miles Sanders or even A.J. Brown didn't win the Rookie of the Year on the offense side of things and Kyler Murray won, it just shows you how, it's just all about QBs. So I think even if Joe Burrow puts up numbers less than Kyler Murray, I still think with all the hype behind him, he's still going to win Rookie of the Year, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not. And Defensive Rookie of the Year, this one's a little bit more just random. I think Grant Delpit, safety out of LSU. He makes so many plays, man. I think he's going to go to a team like the Buccaneers. I think he's going to lock down that secondary. I think this man's going to get a ton of picks, make a ton of big plays. I think he's one of the best playmakers on the defense side of things coming out of the draft. I think the man wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. That one's just a complete shot in the dark. But that's my pick. Now, moving on to my divisional winners. In the AFC, starting there, AFC East, I do have the Patriots winning the AFC East, even in this scenario that they do lose Tom Brady. Now, my crazy part of this prediction is the fact that I think they win more games than they did last year. I think they might win 13, 14 games this year if everything that I just said comes into fruition. I'm not saying, obviously Tom Brady was, bad for him, but still, if they add Teddy Bridgewater, I don't think they'll see much loss in production there. I think AJ Green would be huge for that. Offense, and I genuinely think the Patriots bounce back and have a better record than they did last year, even if they do lose Tom Brady. Now, the AFC West, even with Tom Brady being added to this division, I still have the Kansas City Chiefs as winners of the AFC West. I mean, I don't think anybody right now, with what's happened, unless something crazy happens in offseason free agency or in trades or the draft, nobody right now could go out there and logically say, yeah, the reigning Super Bowl champions are not going to win their own division. So that's just a simple one. Most of the best players are coming back. The biggest question mark is Chris Jones, but even without him, you saw what they did without him against the Texans. They still won by 3, 4, 5, whatever it was, touchdowns. So I think they'll be fine. They're going to win the AFC West, even with an incoming Tom Brady. AFC North. Now, this one, I think the AFC North might actually end up being the most competitive division and toughest division in the NFL this next season. Because in all my predictions, you have not only the Ravens bringing literally everybody back from being arguably one of the best teams in the league last year, who everybody had as their Super Bowl favorite when they go into the playoffs. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who literally was a game out of making the playoffs last year with their 17th string quarterback, with James Conner missing half the year, Juju Smith missing half the year, and just having a completely injury-prone year of every single player possible on that team. Big Ben's going to be back. The whole offense is going to be healthy. The whole team's going to be healthy. They're going to be solid. Now, I think the Browns, I'll talk more about the Browns in a minute, but I think the Browns are going to have a huge bounce back year. With the talent, they're eventually going to get on the same page, have a good year. And then the Bengals, I think, are going to get a ton better with Joe Burrow on the team. So I think this could be the best top-to-bottom division in all of football. But I do have the Ravens once again winning the AFC North. They're just too good. You saw how good they were last year. They literally bring everybody back and can only add to how good they were last year. So I think the Ravens for sure win the AFC North. Now the AFC South, yes, this might be the homer in me. I do genuinely, from the bottom of my heart and top of my brain, think the Titans are going to win the AFC South. I mean, you saw the record with Ryan Tannehill and without Ryan Tannehill, with 7-3 as the starter. and you have a full season with Ryan Tannehill at the helm, I think for sure they're going to bring him back. I think for sure Derrick Henry's going to come back without a shadow of a doubt. If they can add themselves a pass rusher and get healthy in the secondary and replace Jack Conklin at the right tackle position, I think they're going to bring him back. Just add somebody in that front seven, a pass rusher. I think this team has a chance to finally win 10 games. They've won 9 games the last like 4 years. And I do think 10 games would be enough to win the division this year. So I think with a full season, Tannehill coming back, Derrick Henry coming back, A.J. Brown being as good as he was last year, this entire season, I think the Titans, AFC South champions, my prediction, finally, they win the division. Now time for the wild card picks 1 and 2. Wild card number 1, the Chargers. You cannot have Tom Brady go into a new team and him not make the playoffs. With the weapons they have, whether or not they bring back Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler, Hunter Henry, who might leave too, but if Tom Brady goes to the Chargers, Hunter Henry's going to stay. You have Mike Williams, you have Travis Benjamin, you have Keenan Allen, so many weapons. They're going to make the playoffs. I was actually considering them like maybe dethroning the Chiefs, but it's not going to happen. But still, I think they possibly win 10 games, get wild card spot number 1. Wild card spot number 2. This one's the biggest shot in the dark with the Cleveland Browns, bro. Last year, my preseason predictions, I had the Browns, didn't I have them winning the AFC? I think they have too much talent. I know Odell might leave in a trade. There's been some speculation behind that, but I think he stays. He may add some pieces in the offseason. This team is just way too talented to not make the playoffs. Give him another offseason to mesh together. Baker Mayfield can't play any worse than what he did last year. Have Kareem Hunt back there running back. You mean Nick Chubb was one of the best running backs in the league last year. I think they're just too good to not make the playoffs. I think they sneak their way in there with the wild card spot number 2. Now, dark horse on the year, I'm going to give a dark horse pick for the AFC and NFC. The NFC dark horse is a lot clearer to me. This one was just completely random. Basically, it's just a team that I didn't pick to make the playoffs that could possibly make the run. I think the Steelers. I mean, I just have no idea how the Steelers are going to do this year. I mean, obviously, you saw they were on the brink of making the playoffs last year with Devlin Hodges as quarterback and with all the injuries they had. And everybody's going to be healthy, but maybe last year's because the schedule was pretty freaking weak. They had a lot of wins over really bad teams, but still with everybody being healthy, they could possibly make a run, being one of the last years, maybe in Big Ben's career. I don't have them making the playoffs, but they could be a team to make a run for it that I didn't pick to win a division or make the playoffs. Now, I'll just go ahead and give you my AFC Conference Championship game, my 2 picks, who's going to make it to the Conference Championship game. So, wild one, boys. Ravens, Chargers. I know this might sound like dumb reasoning to some of you guys, but it's just so freaking rare for an NFL team to go back-to-back winning the Super Bowl 2 consecutive years. That something in the stars is going to align and the Chiefs won't make it to the AFC Championship game. That's my bold prediction. And I think if Tom Brady goes to a team that's not the Patriots, I'm telling you, they're going to find a way to make it to the Conference Championship game. Have Ravens and Chargers. I think Tom Brady's Cinderella run ends there. And the Ravens do finally get it done. I mean, they're bringing everybody back and only going to add more from last year's team. I think they make it to the Super Bowl finally and maybe win it. Depends on who I have them matching up against. Now, on to the NFC. NFC East Eagles. Have them winning the division once again. Was easily the most mediocre division in all the NFL last year. But much like the Steelers, they still found a way to go 500 or over 500 in the Eagles' case with all the freaking injuries they had. So I think with a healthy team, they easily win this division. I think the Cowboys they're gonna be right there again, but I do think the Eagles once again win the division, especially with a healthy team. NFC West, this is a hard one, dudes. It's a toss-up. 49ers, Seahawks. I think the Seahawks finally get it done with healthy running backs and not a bartender and Marshawn Lynch at running back this year. I think they're going to be solid. DK Metcalf, another year in the system. I just think this is the year the Seahawks are going to get the edge on the Niners. I mean, the Niners, you might see if I think they get the wild card spot, but they're still going to be a good team. It's going to be a toss-up just like it was last year. It came down to like the last few games, but I do think the Seahawks win the NFC West. Now on to the NFC North. Now this is a wild one. I didn't even mention this in my free agency predictions. NFC North, the Chicago Bears. They were my pick last year to win it, and this year I think they do win the NFC North. Why? This is going to get me so much hate, but I did not think the Packers were that good of a team. I thought for sure I was willing to bet thousands of dollars against the Packers in their playoff game, and they got annihilated. Like, I just knew it was going to happen. So I just don't think the Packers are that good of a team. And why do I think the Bears are going to make it to the playoffs? Because I think they're going to sign Cam Newton. I do think Cam Newton is going to be a Chicago Bear. He's going to come back. My prediction for the comeback player of the year, Cam Newton, I think is going to happen. And with that defense, man, if they can finally get a QB to run that offense effectively, they have the weapons, Allen Robinson, Cohen, and some others. I think the Chicago Bears, that might be the shock of the video, win the NFC North over the Packers and even the Vikings. Next, the NFC South. Drew Brees, his final year. It's kind of like the Ray Lewis thing. I remember I did my NFL playoff predictions for that video, and literally my only reasoning for me picking the Ravens to win the Super Bowl that year was because of the Ray Lewis thing. Like, it's just too good of a story not to happen. Same thing here. I mean, obviously they're a good team too, but Drew Brees in his final year, there's no way Drew Brees comes back for his final year and the Saints don't win the division. Like, it's just not going to happen. That's really my only reasoning behind that. Now on to my wild card picks. Wild card number 1, going with the 49ers. They're too good. It's going to be just like the Seahawks were. Like, one of them is going to win the division. The other is going to have the next best record. And I think they definitely make the wild card. Really good team. Kind of folded there late in the Super Bowl, but they're going to make the playoffs. Their defense is too good. The running back situation, Kyle Shanahan, obviously. The defense is just too good. They're for sure going to make the playoffs. On wild card spot number 2. This is a wild one too. This is another free agency prediction. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Phillip Rivers. I don't think Jameis is coming back. I don't know who he's going to go to, but I don't think he's coming back. I think the best fit for him right now is Phillip Rivers because they have the talent to win. Now, the wide receiver core is insane. They have the weapons on offense. I think Phillip Rivers would love that situation, the weapons around him. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a quarterback who does not throw 30 interceptions in a year, although Phillip Rivers threw a lot last year. It's still Phillip Rivers. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Phillip Rivers for sure make the wild card. Now, my dark horse pick, and this one's a little off the wall, but I like my reasoning behind this. It's the Atlanta Falcons. They finished last year on a huge run. They won the last 4 games of the year. I just don't see how the Falcons did not do good last year, how they're not always a good team. Like, they have so many weapons. I mean, Matt Ryan, whatever you want to say, he's a solid QB. Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Austin Hooper, Devonta Freeman, although he might not come back, I'm not sure. Maybe he doesn't, but still, like, the Falcons are a freaking really good offense. If they can add some pieces to that defense, it's always been the defense to let them down. They have the offense. I do think, I mean, they're a team that, like, if they can get everything going on the same page, like, they could make a run and definitely shock some people this season. And oh man, it all comes down to this NFC Championship game. I have the Saints and the Bears. Now, I don't think the Bears win it. Last year, I had the Bears advancing to the Super Bowl. That was a mistake. But once again, man, it's the freaking Drew Brees story. Drew Brees will not be in the Super Bowl if he announces that this is his final year and he comes back to the Saints. Like, that's my prediction. It is going to happen. Same thing with the Ray Lewis story. That brings us down to the Ravens, Saints. For Super Bowl, that'll be 55. As it's crazy because the Ravens Saints were my prediction for the Super Bowl when I did my NFL playoff predictions last year at the beginning of the playoffs, so that's a little wild, but I think this next year comes into fruition. Drew Brees and his potential last year, Lamar Jackson, the reigning MVP, and much like last year, or this prior Super Bowl, it was a reigning MVP, and Patrick Mahomes, he won it. So is Lamar Jackson going to make it a two straight reigning MVPs to win the Super Bowl? No. Drew Brees, the Saints, my pick for Super Bowl 55, and for all I know, man, Drew Brees might freaking retire.